Welcome, everyone, to an NABC chat. I'm Andy Katz, pleased to be joined by TCU head coach Jamie Dixon, the president of the NABC. And Jamie, obviously we are in unprecedented times going through a global pandemic. And within the last week, obviously, unrest, not just here in the country, but across the globe over the murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis. It has forced, really at a right time, a call to action. I know college coaches around the country have spoken to their players about this, the raw emotion about this. You had a chance to do that on Sunday with your players at TCU. What did they say to you?
Well, we reached out to them immediately. We'd already had a call scheduled, to be honest with you, and we just wanted to get right to the point and get talking about it. I mean, this one was, the video was so apparent, and it just seems like people are I think more troubled than ever. And so we just jumped on it real quick on Sunday, had opened up for discussion. You tell me, ask them questions. I don't want to talk. You need to. A couple of my coaches chimed in, Tony Benford, who you know, and really kind of took more a lead, I think, once I got it started. And I immediately reached out to our chief officer of inclusion and diversity, who was actually played football here while I was here. So he's a longtime friend, Darren Turner. And we got him on a Zoom call with our guys on Wednesday too. So we've jumped on this thing. I think just kind of some circumstances allowed us to do that as a university. And again, a lot of these things we've done. We've met with police officers every year. We've engaged our guys. We've talked about voting, but it's this one I think is going to be a little bit. This one means more. I don't know how else to put it, but and now that my position with the NABC board of directors timing, I think we've jumped on it in that way too.
Yeah. So you guys went right to it with a call to action that the NABC put out on Thursday to take tangible steps. Look, we're not going to cure systemic racism in this country overnight. I mean, it's been there for 400 years. So we clearly need to change the culture. And these are steps in the infancy here. Let's go over a couple of them here. What did you see in terms of the steps that the NABC took forward, like, for example, in-person or virtual meetings with local law enforcement to hear that other side? If you could just take a couple of these for me as to what you're hoping that coaches across the country will be able to do with their student athletes going forward.
I didn't want to, as you mentioned earlier, like changing the world. We weren't looking to do that, but with us, we're such a unique situation, and we're on a campus. We've got a team. Generally, most of our players are African American. And we can have some impact with our team and on a campus within our community, and we have young people, and young people they've been angered by this more so, I think, and I have a 16-year-old daughter. She is troubled by this, and so I think we have can't, like we said, change the world, maybe not, but we can start with our campus, with our team, with the young people, and get our guys engaged. So we've done, met with police officers. We've done ride-alongs with police officers when we first got here. We had an incident in Dallas around the time I arrived here at TCU. So we've done some of these things, but we really wanted to take the lead in the NABC and help or give ideas or guidelines, basic guidelines, rules to maybe look at and do the best you can with it. So we've started with those, communication with your team, and making the players feel comfortable with being able to express their views, encourage them to be thoughtful, active, and engaging with issues.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about inclusiveness, diversity, having speakers, if you will. As we mentioned, law enforcement, empowering them to feel comfortable in terms of social justice issues, registering to vote, making sure that election day, certainly at the presidential every 4 years, that is a non-compete day, making sure that student athletes have registered to vote, maybe it's absentee, but not just actually on that day, being part of the process on that day, even if you had voted in at your home state absentee. In terms of, not just hearing each other speak, especially if it is white athletes and black athletes or Hispanic and whoever it is, it's also the listening aspect. How much are you hoping that coaches are, from this point forward, listening and not just hearing, but listening as those from different backgrounds, different socioeconomic backgrounds have to discuss and describe what their life experience has been like?
Right. And I think that was important because, we've had these conversations. It's not going to happen overnight. The players are so used to us talking and us setting the rules. And that's what I really expressed to our guys before when we brought this up. But certainly on Sunday and on Wednesday when we talked is, you guys got to talk. And it may not happen today. I understand this. You may not comfortable. We've got a lot of freshmen and young guys. So maybe it's a coach that leads the way, or maybe it's a senior that leads the way, but and maybe it's not right now. You don't feel as strongly as you will 6 months or 2 years from now, but we've got to get that process started, and maybe they'll feel more comfortable expressing their thoughts or talking about it. It's not always easy to talk about a bad experience. It's something that you've gone through. I mean, sometimes it takes longer for one to speak about that. So again, not happening overnight, but maybe we've done it before, but we're going to have to do it more. We're going to have to bring this topic up more to our players and let them understand that. But I also want to encourage them to engage with other parts of the campus, with football or other sports, and then on with other students as we've talked about. So it's not going to happen overnight. It's a process, but I'm going to be more active in doing it, more open in doing it, more consistent, I think is the word, with reaching out to our players and encouraging them to speak to us and to others. But they've got to be prepared. That's what I really want them. They do your research, know what you're talking about, and feel comfortable with it. So maybe it's with us. That's the first step, and then they'll go out and speak to others and be more comfortable doing it then.
And we've seen a lot of college basketball players doing that here in the past week. And so, Jamie, we appreciate it. Obviously, you can go to NABC.com, and the NABC social media handle to see the call to action, the steps, the action steps going forward that hopefully that coaches will now take and implement on the respective programs across the country. Jamie,
and I want to give Eric at Georgia Tech credit for Eric was the one we first saw it. One of my assistants sent it to me, and then I kind of ran with it to the NABC. So I thought that was a great thing, and it's a good start for us. So again, we're taking ideas, and we don't want the statement when we first came out. We don't want these to be the last things we do. We want to. It's got to be something it's constant, and we grow and build off of it.
Yeah, Eric, obviously that's the power of social media, imploring everyone to take November 3rd off in 2020. And I think that'll happen. And I think it'll happen obviously in 2024 going forward. Jamie, appreciate it. Stay safe. Everyone, thanks for watching.
Thank you, Andy.